Welcome! In today's video, we're going to compare the Easy Bow Maker, the Bowdabra, and the Bow-It-All. Now, I went into this with my favorite, which is the Easy Bow Maker, but I did have to change my mind about the other two, and at the end, I'll kind of go over the differences and tell you my thoughts. We're going to start with the Bowdabra. Now, I got this one in a bundle that I bought, and so it didn't have instructions. It has that little bar right there, but I watched a lot of videos, and most people didn't use that bar. We start off by centering up our bow maker, and then measuring out our tail is going to be 10 inches. And this is going to be a really simple bow with 5-inch loops, just 2 on each side and 1 in the center. And this ribbon is the same on both sides, so you don't have to twist it when you fold it back over. You just fold it over on itself, back and forth, till you get the number of loops that you want. Then I use a zip tie. I just pull this up, make my little center loop, and then use my zip tie to secure the center. If you put the head of the zip tie a little closer to the center, then it won't be the struggle to get it to tighten up. But I'll show you that. I'll point it out a little bit later in the video. So you get that all tightened up, then cut off 10 inches for the other tail, and kind of poof out my loops. And then dovetail the tails. So where you just fold it over and cut from the material side up to the wire side. Gives you a nice dovetail. Cut off the zip tie, and there's a pretty little bow. Now we're going to do a bow with 6 loops on each side. Now, when using this much ribbon, I find it's easier to just do the tails at the end. That way you're not dealing with a lot of extra ribbon. So you just measure it out, go 6 inches there. Measure this side, go 6 inches. That's actually the dowel from my Easy Bow Maker. Sometimes I find it easier to get a good measure when you do that, but it's not necessary. In fact, I don't do it on one side and do it on the other. I don't know why. Just fold them over back and forth. Now we're going to go to a 5-inch loop. And so we'll do 3 5-inch loops on each side. And again, we're not twisting it in the center because the ribbon is the same on both sides. This is a good time to say, hey, if you haven't yet, subscribe to my channel and give this a thumbs up if you enjoy the video. If you learned something, and I'll tell you, I learned something in this video. Now just push it down so that you can pull it up, create the loop on the top, use your zip tie. Now a lot of people will use wire. In fact, the Bowdabra, most of the people that I saw online use the wire. But I don't like using wires because it's very small and I don't like the way it feels in my hands. When fluffing a bow that has this many loops, I like to take the top loop, move it to the side, the second loop to the other side, and then leave one in the center. Then go to the next one, take it to the side, one in the center, to the side, one in the center. I love the way this bow turned out. I think it's big, pretty, full. Just needs some tails. So I just measure out 20 inches of fabric or ribbon, so it gives me 10-inch tails. Be sure and dovetail them. Again, fold it over, fabric side to the wire side. And then I use a pipe cleaner and just attach the tails to the bow, and then that's how you can attach it to your project. Although I do recommend using a coordinating pipe cleaner. This just happened to be the first one that I grabbed. And when people put a wire in, they just slide it through here and then tuck it underneath the Bowdabra. But again, this doesn't even work out for me. You'll see that in a second. This particular ribbon is one-sided, so I wanted to show you how you put it in. Give it a twist, put it through, twist it, and then put it through, give it a twist. If you'll twist every other back and forth, then your ribbon won't get all tangly. I don't do that all the time and my ribbon gets tangly. Do as I say, not as I do. This is just going to be a simple 3-loop bow. And you can see here I start to twist this so that I can make my little loop on the top, but that's just not going to work out. So I just pull it out like normal, make my little loop at the top, put my zip tie through there, cut off my tails, then fluff it up, one to one side, the other to the other, and the middle one in the back. I think I've mentioned that the Easy Bow Maker is my favorite for making bows, but the Bowdabra definitely has a specific purpose in my craft room, and I'll show you that at the end. But it really has surprised me here how well it did on the bows. It's the same real process as the Easy Bow Maker, but there are some things I like better about the Easy Bow Maker, and I'll show that in a moment as well. Here I just stacked them so you could see that you can get a different look by stacking. Now on to the Easy Bow Maker, and we'll just go through these instructions page by page. No, not really. Put that to the side. Not really my style. Now the Easy Bow Maker, it's the same basic process as the Bowdabra. You just measure out your tails. It has a couple different features. It has the measurements right on the board itself so that you can just measure your loops. It's usually not long enough for tails if you go over, I think it's 9 inches. But this one we're going to do a 2-loop bow. So we measure 5-inch loops on each side. And here I'm usually just in the habit of twisting it. And so you'll see here, even though it's the same on both sides, the ribbon is, I still twist it. And then I put my top loop, which you really don't have to do until you pull it out of the unit. Use your zip tie to secure it, pull your loops out, and this was just a little 2-loop bow just like the one we did with the Bowdabra, just to compare them. Now here I cut my dovetails, and for some reason I cut them so uneven on my tails. Now, you can tell me, do you agree that they need to be the same? I watched one guy who actually said, and you can just leave your tails any length, it doesn't matter if they're the same. That would drive me crazy. So in the comments below, let me know, would you have to even out your tails or can they be different lengths? Now we're going to do the same 6-loop bow that we did on the Bowdabra. And same process basically. I don't put tails when I have this much ribbon that I'm dealing with. So I just measure out my 6-inch loop, 6-inch loop on this side, and then twist it. I twisted back and I didn't go back and forth. I just kept twisting one way, and my ribbon got all twisted. So it's a good idea if you twist one way, then the next time you twist back the other way, and that'll keep your ribbon from getting all tangly. Again, I don't always do it that way, and I don't notice until it's too late. So you just go back and forth, and this is going to be 3 of the 6-inch loops on each side, and then I'll go down to a 5-inch loop, so I do 3 of those on each side. Now the next one we use is the Bow-It-All. I don't use it the same that I use the Easy Bow Maker at all. It has a whole different purpose in my craft room, but it is where I learned something, and it's where I had my epic fail. So yeah, stay tuned till the end of that because it's pretty sad. So I just cut that off, put my zip tie through, and right here's where you can see if you'll pull it right up close, boom, you can just pull that zip tie right there and tighten it up, no problems. And again, pull the loops to the side, to the side, to the middle, and to the side, to the side, to the middle, side, side, middle, and another pretty little bow. And I just got me a little pipe cleaner, added my tails, twisted it around, and I could spend forever fluffing bows. There's just a point you have to stop. But here's the comparison. Bowdabra is on the left, Easy Bow Maker on the right. And now we'll jump into the Bow-It-All. It comes with a nice little carrying case and a couple little accessories. We'll go through the instructions on this one just like we did on the Easy Bow Maker, which means we don't really go through them at all. Now this one, it has little extensions there, and these little rods come out, and that's where you would put your spool of ribbon. And then these rods come out, and that's where you make your loops. And it has this handy dandy wrench, and I tightened down the little rods with that. And I won't do that anymore because then I had to use it to loosen them. But it comes with additional rods so that you can make multiple loops for your bow. But typically on this one, all I do is make a simple little bow. Just wrap it around, pull that to the back, tie it, and there's your simple little bow. And this is a 5/8 inch ribbon. I don't use bigger ribbon on it because this is just when I use it to make little embellishments for things. Super cute. You could actually take this and make a little loop in the center if you want to. But we'll make one more. Just pull it around the back, tie it in the center. I always have problems getting it in the center, so I have to move my loops one way or the other. Now I'm going to move the rods in and make a tiny little bow with a 3/8 inch ribbon. And they're so cute. And you can use them, like I said, on embellishing different items, but these are just precious. And even this size, I have a problem getting this tied in the center. So when I take it off, you'll see I have to move the bow to the side to get the knot centered. And something you have to be real careful on is this type of ribbon frays. And so when you're working with a little tiny bow like this, I usually use fray check or stiffen stuff. I have that in another video. You can see that I use stiffen stuff to keep it from fraying. I'll link that in the description down below. Now coming up is where I learned something and my epic fail. As I was editing this video, I thought, the processes are the same where they're just back and forth, back and forth. So I thought, why don't I try that on the Bow-It-All and see if I can't do the easy bow but get more loops out of it. And so I just did a crazy 8 and went back and forth on the rods. And here I'm counting, I've got 3 loops on each side. Kind of wrap that around and have it hold it. Then I get a zip tie, pull that up to the center. And I'm real careful to check my center on this, because once you zip tie it, there's not a lot of moving you're going to do. And so I pull that off there, snip it, and now when I fluffed this, I was so surprised at how cute this was and how easy. So I don't know how many people have a Bow-It-All and if it's worth making a video and kind of diving deeper into what a Bow-It-All can do. Maybe leave me a comment down below if you would like to see more on the Bow-It-All and a more in-depth tutorial on it, because I have a feeling that there's more to it than I give it credit for. And then you can take a little piece of ribbon, fold it over into thirds and put it in the center, and it's just so cute. I'm so excited. So it made me think, can I do different size loops? So I added on 2 more rods, and I'm gonna just give it a shot doing just the crazy 8. Always check to make sure you have enough ribbon, because it would really stink to get halfway through and then I don't have enough ribbon. So that's what I was showing you. Check for your ribbon. Now I've got crazy 8s going on the front, crazy 8s going on the back. Then I'll just cut it off. It's pretty nice using the wired ribbon because it'll just hold itself right there on the rod. Kind of double checked my loop count there. Put my zip tie there, tighten it up, and pull that off. When I give it a little fluff here, this isn't the epic fail. This one's kind of between a win and a fail, because had I put more loops on the back and maybe something in between the two sizes, I think it would be a super cute bow. But this is not something I would put on a project. Epic fail is coming up. I decided to go from the 5/8 inch ribbon into an 1.5 inch ribbon. And this ribbon is the one-sided ribbon, so I couldn't really do the crazy 8s. You can see here, if I tried that, it's got that wrong side. So you just kind of have to loop it around. But I thought that might still work. And again, because of my looping back and forth, my ribbon is just all twisted up. So once I get that all done, I'll cut off a little bit. Checking my loops there, making sure I have 2 on each side. Cut it off. Use my zip tie. Make sure it's centered. And then as this is about the time I start realizing there's just too much fabric in there as far as the ribbon, and it's just not gonna work. Done. No, I'll pass. So maybe I just could wrap it once. Maybe on both. Nah, just nothing. Forget it. So I just go back to when. So to wrap it all up, the Bow-It-All makes super cute, simple bows. And really cute, teeny tiny bows. And lesson learned, it makes really cute 3-loop simple bows. So overall, I did learn some stuff about the Bow-It-All. Now Bowdabra, it makes really nice bows, but it does basically the same thing that the Easy Bow Maker does. And with space in a craft room at a premium, you don't really like to have things that duplicate one another. And my favorite, the Easy Bow Maker. It makes really pretty bows. It's really easy to use. Has a couple of features that the others don't, and we're fixing to kind of go over that, but it does make a really pretty bow. So overall, the Easy Bow Maker, still my favorite. Bow-It-All, I learned some stuff. Bowdabra, it's just too close to the Easy Bow Maker without the features of like the measurements on the board and the spool holder for your ribbon. And I still have no idea why they added this little bar with it, because most people don't use it. I sure didn't. So it makes you say, so why do you have the Bowdabra? But it does have a certain place in my craft room, and we're going to go over that now. I use it as an extra set of hands when I'm making wreaths. One of the wreaths that I make, I use little bundles as filler, and so the Bowdabra holds the mesh I've already worked with while I work with the other mesh and the ribbons until I can get the pipe cleaner and bundle it all together. Of course, we don't need that bar, but we will go ahead and start with the yellow mesh, and this is cut at 20 inches. And they call it a cruffle. I don't know who came up with that, but basically you roll the raw edges in a little bit, and then you go to the other side and you roll that raw edge in a little bit, and then you ruffle up the center till it gets to one piece. Now slide it into the Bowdabra, and it holds it in place while I go on to the little curlicue I make. So you just roll that up. I like to twist it and have both my ends up like that and hold it in there. Now you go to the ribbon. We know my issues with centering things, so make sure it's the center. And then my second ribbon, do the same thing. Put it in there. And now take a pipe cleaner, pull all of that out, keeping the center together. Put the pipe cleaner around there. Pull it real tight. Twist it up. And there's a bundle. Well, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. And if you had subscribed, that'd be great. At the time of this recording, I had 13 subscribers, and it's going to be really fun to watch the channel grow. If you'll comment down below, I'd love to chat with you, see what kind of things you'd like to see, what kind of projects, and we'll catch you on the next video.